Are you basically aiming at my face?
Basically, yes.
Sort of?
Yes.
Kind of?
Yep.
All right, excellent.
Yep, that's one way
Okay.
to do that. Just right.
X-ray education. X-ray Ed is back with you one more time. Today we're doing a little experimentation with shielding and distance. As you know, the cardinal rules in radiation safety are time, distance, and shielding. We want short time, a lot of distance, thicker shielding. So what we've got our patient right here. Our patient's been good enough to hold still for us for a little while. We're going to be taking some x-rays. We're going to take a series of x-rays to simulate doing multiple examinations, because as you know, for us radiographers, our exposure is cumulative. We don't get to take just one x-ray and then call it a day. We're going to be here all afternoon. So we're going to take a series of x-rays, and we have strategically placed around the room various imaging plates. Those are going to pick up the scatter radiation because, as you know, CR plates are very, very sensitive to scatter radiation. They'll give us a general idea of how much scatter is hitting at each distance. And what we've done is we've put a number of markers on each image, and that way we know how far that particular plate was from the patient, not necessarily from the x-ray tube. And my technologist here is being a good technologist. She's standing back 6 feet from the patient, and that's as far as you can get, basically, using your corded switch. So she's got her 6 feet of distance, and she's wearing a nice apron, and so we're going to see if that helps her gonadal dose any at all. All right, thank you very much. We'll be back with you and tell you our results. All right, so our resulting x-rays. Okay, this was 2 feet away from the patient, laying in the bed next to him. Probably not a great idea to do that. We had an exposure index of over 800. This was our image that was taken. This was the plate that was up in the windowsill. And let me orient that correctly. It was more like this. So we had the edge of the plate exposed. This side of the plate was behind the wall, so it didn't get exposed as badly. So overall exposure index is not bad, but you can see it was still exposed pretty much over on this side. That was at 14 feet distance. Okay, this was 18 feet away from the patient inside the chest bucky. The exposure index is only 7, but look at this. You can see clearly the number 18, so the exposure wasn't 0. This was on the table at a range of 10 feet. With a hand phantom sitting in front of it. The hand phantom is definitely, you can see an outline. You can't see a lot of detail, but there's a lot of exposure there. Exposure index was 23. At 7 foot distance from the table, from the patient, 7 foot distance from the patient, we had an exposure index of 23 also. And then at a 4 foot distance from the patient, we've got an exposure of 96. Now this next one is really interesting. Okay, you can make out the 6 in the upper right hand corner. This was an 8x10 plate that was clean, and it was situated in the radiographer, in the pelvis, but inside a lead shield. So at a range of 6 feet, we got an exposure index of 4, which is a very, very low exposure, as compared to 7 feet distance with no shielding, which is about 6 times more radiation. So if you're going to be taking portable x-rays, you definitely want to put on your shield and stand back from the patient. That's going to give you the best possible result. Your exposure is never going to be 0, but it doesn't have to be, you don't have to have a high exposure just because you're in the room with the patient. Put on your shield.